Welcome to the Nuke Zone, CFB Week 11. Are you ready? Here we go. Bunch of big games. There's a lot of high-ranked teams going on the road this week. There's a lot of high-ranked teams with tough tests, to be honest. Okay? But the biggest one, Texas Tech versus BYU. Who thought I'd been saying that a couple years ago? BYU at Texas Tech in Lubbock, baby. There's going to be one team that dominates this game. Okay? I'm going to start off just by saying it. Texas Tech is going to kick BYU's ass. Okay? It might be a game there for a minute, but I got Texas Tech winning this game, okay? Listen, BYU, they are not as good on the road, okay? They traveled to Arizona and went to overtime. They were getting hammered by Colorado there for a little bit, come back and win 24-21. And then at Iowa State, they were losing that game, and then things just fell their way, as they usually do. And they ended up winning by 2 scores. But I don't care that they won on 3 of those. They find a way to win. I'll give them that, okay? Texas Tech is the better football team, okay? Far better. They are the best team in the country against the run statistically. The best. Good catch, Luke. And what does BYU live off of? They run the football. They have a great quarterback running the football, okay? They got a big running back, LJ Martin, that is expected to play as of right now. Last I read, he is expected to play. But I don't care. He's banged up, all right? This Tech defense is built to last, all right? Romello Height, David Bailey off the edge. Force him in the passing situations. Them two are going to get there. They got to get Bear down. That's the tough part, okay? He is a freight train. I'll give him that. All right? Put him in. They're going to stop the run. Simple as that. I fully believe they will stop the run. Tech's offense is explosive, okay? They had a trap game versus Kansas State and let them have it, all right? Look at this. Texas Tech has not scored under 40 at home this season. They probably do on Saturday. Don't get me wrong. BYU is a lot better team than what they've played at home. But they ain't scored under 40 yet, okay? And no one scored over 20. Kansas has the highest score of 17 in Lubbock. Gave up 2 14s and then held Oklahoma State to 0. They ain't saying much, but still. All right? Man. Morton's healthy, ready to go. Okay? Oh. This is the biggest game in Texas Tech's in years. 07, 08, 09, something like that. Probably since Crabtree was there. All right? This is a big game. And Tech is going to dominate. They're 10-point favorites for a reason, folks. They're going to own this game. They're the closest thing in the Big 12 to a playoff team. Honestly, I think Utah is better than BYU, but they just came up short at BYU. BYU is going to come up far short at Texas Tech. We're starting it off with a bang. I'm trusting Vegas' line here. Texas Tech is going to own them. All right? Texas Tech gives them an ass kicking, okay? They're going to stop the run. They're going to put them in passing situations, and that pass rush off the edge is going to get to them. And they're going to make mistakes, okay? It's just simple as that. They played Utah, okay, at Utah, and they owned that game, okay? I'm going to read off some stats real quick from that game, from Utah. Devin Dampier, whatever you want to call him, 11 carries, 27 yards. Now, some of these are sacks, so yeah. Naquari Rogers, 10 carries, 37 yards. Wayshawn Parker, 6 carries, 22 yards. Utah is a very similar team to BYU offensively, okay, and defensively. They're very similar all around. Same state, too. What is BYU going to do different? How are they going to... Now, yes, they got the game plan, whatever. They've seen what happened to Utah. They might change some things up. It doesn't matter. Tech's going to stop it. I fully believe in this Tech defense to shut them down. BYU's going to get some stops, though. I will say that. Texas Tech ain't... I don't see BYU scoring over 20, okay? Unless it just comes down the end and it's actually a close game, that might be the only way. I don't see it happening, okay? There is a path to victory here for BYU, and it involves running the football. If they can get to what they've averaged all season, it's just under 5, They have a chance, 4.6 to be exact. Okay, they average 181 a game. Both of them around the 30s in the country, ranked wise. Texas Tech, though, like I said earlier, number 1 in rushing yards a game allowed. 77.3 yards per game allowed rushing. 2.4 yards per carry allowed. That's over 2 yards less than what BYU averages on the year. Okay? Let's break it down a little bit more. Avery Johnson, where are you? Yes, he had 15 for 88 on Tech. Okay? He also had a long of 46. What does that mean? 14 for 42? Not great, all right? And then Joe Jackson, the running back, had 10 for 25. In a trap game at Kansas State versus a team who runs the ball heavily, and shut them down. Texas Tech's going to stop the run. Texas Tech is going to force BYU to pass. And Texas Tech's going to win this game, folks, and they are going to cover, all right? Good one. All right, moving on. Texas Tech with the win and cover in the biggest game of the Big 12 this year. All right. I think BYU's overrated, and it shows. Now, my favorite game of the week, just because it's my team, okay? Texas A&M travels to Missouri, 7-point favorites. True freshman, Zollers at quarterback. Matt Zollers? Yeah, I think it's his first name. Zollers at quarterback. How does A&M attack him? Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I think this is a good game for the first half, okay? I think A&M, they're going to have a game plan set up. And usually when backup quarterbacks come in, one of two things happen. God-awful or really good, because they have the game plan. I don't think Eli Drinkwitz is stupid. That's the reason he's in all these head coaching searches, because he's not stupid, all right? He's going to have a good game plan, okay? And they got Ahmad Hardy in the backfield, one of the best running backs in the country. And A&M has shown to be susceptible to giving up big runs. And I am an Aggie fan, but I know that. I also know they're not as bad against the run as everybody makes them out to be. Okay, they give up the big runs here and there. They do not just get trashed on the run, right? Okay. A&M is going to have to shut the run down. They shut the run down and make Zollers lead this offense. You make him lead this offense, I think you win the game. But for the first half, I think they have a great game plan over there, and they execute. And then the Elko adjustments come through, and they shut down this Missouri offense. Now, also, this is one of the better defenses A&M has played, okay? They tore up LSU. They dropped 40 on them, okay? Notre Dame, they dropped 40 on them. They have 4 road games this year and have scored over 40 in every single one of them. I don't know if we get there this time. This defense did give Alabama some trouble. Alabama's offensive line is not as good as A&M's, okay? That is where this game is going to be won, in the trenches, okay? Missouri needs to run the ball to win this game. Cool. Missouri also gives up sacks. If you get in passing situations, they do have 2 really good offensive linemen. It's not 5, though. Okay, they give up their fair share of sacks. I believe they are 95th in the country in sack percentage allowed. Where are you? 94th, my bad. They allow a sack on 7% of plays. A&M gets a sack on 11% of plays, which is number 3 in the country. Okay, and also, this is the best D-line Missouri's played all year in terms of pass rush. All right, A&M is going to get after them. If they can get them to third down, make them pass, A&M is going to get after them. Now, for Missouri, okay, they have a pass rush too. The only difference is they're facing a top 3 offensive line in the country. This offensive line has performed in the run game. They performed in the pass game. Honestly, I think there's 4 for sure NFL players on this offensive line. All right. Zune is going to play in the NFL. Basantis is going to play in the NFL. ARA is going to play in the NFL. Crownover is going to play in the NFL. And I'm pretty sure Naboo will too. He's your starting center. I know they rotate him. They get Coley in there a little bit. They move Zune over. They bring Fathery in, or they bring Zune out and bring Fathery in. They are deep on the offensive line, and they all can play. Now, they got to show up. This is a road game. I do not think Mizzou is as tough an environment as LSU. They got the construction going on. A&M has a clear path to victory, okay? no one in the country has shown an offense like theirs. So whatever Mizzou has played, they have not stopped anything like A&M. Okay, they still gave up 20-something points to Alabama. All right, I think Alabama should have won that game by more. They just came right out of the half and fumbled the ball. A&M could also make these mistakes, but I do not think they do. All right, I think A&M comes out first half. We have a hard-fought game. I don't think it's because A&M lets them stay in it, nothing like that. I think it's just a hard-fought first half. And then if anyone who follows A&M football knows, Elko adjustments at halftime. I don't know what he says to them. I don't know what the adjustments truly are. I wish I could hear it. Because this A&M team in the second half is just built different. I think that goes back to Tommy Moffitt. I think that goes back to all the assistant coaches. And I think that goes back to their game plan and what they do to fix what's going wrong. Okay? And then also just the pep talks, man. Elko gets after him at halftime. I have seen that part. Tune into the Pulse. You can see it a little bit. We're going to have a good game for one half. And then A&M is just going to lean on them and beat them up in the second half. And I think they'll win by 2 scores. Call me crazy. I think they do. Okay? I think they're going to stop the run. Mizzou might get 1 or 2 in the first half or whatever. I think they're going to end up stopping the run second half, catch us how. And this group of pass rushers are going to get after them. Okay? I think Hal's the real deal. All right? Y'all seen the video of him versus LSU? Like crazy mentality. I love it. Yeah, he had that in the spring game. I was there, front row, seen it firsthand. He's like that all the time. He's there. He wants to win. A&M wants to win. A&M knows what happened last year. They have a job to do. They crumbled down the stretch. I don't think they crumble this year. Okay? Not to mention they handled Mizzou 45-7 with Connor Wigman playing quarterback. This offense is better. Now, yes, this ain't the same Mizzou team. You're right. This offense is better. This defense, A&M is better in every single position group than they were last year. And they produced 3 NFL defensive linemen. They are better, okay? Their cornerbacks are better, safeties are better, linebackers have improved, D-line, the pass rush has been amazing, okay? This team's legit. I truly believe in a world where you're not really supposed to go undefeated, I think they go undefeated in the SEC, okay? I think they make a statement in the second half, once again on the road. Okay? The last SEC team to win 3 ranked road games, or not 3 ranked road games, I'm sorry, 3 straight road games, Alabama in 2020. Okay, you know what happened that year. I'm not calling a shot, just pointing something out. Okay? We're going to dive into Mizzou's offensive line real quick. I've been talking about the pass rush. Against Vandy, they did get 2. We're going to do both sides of the ball, okay? Against Vandy, they did get 2 sacks, but they allowed 1. Okay, Vandy has a decent pass rush, but also I saw Vandy not do anything versus Texas. Okay, they got 0 sacks versus Texas. A little telling. Auburn, they got 5 sacks, but they allowed 3. Okay, Alabama, they got 4, allowed 2. South Carolina, oh, sorry, skip that. Scoot back up. Another path to victory. Top receivers have performed. Kevin Coleman, 108 yards receiving from Auburn. An Auburn receiver had over 100 yards, not to their fault. It's their quarterback. Jeremiah Cobb had 111 on the zoo. Okay? Jam Miller ran for 85. I love Jam Miller, and no offense to these guys. I think A&M is better in both spots. Okay? Sellers threw for 302. Missouri defense has been susceptible to stuff. Just a month ago, Eli Drinkwitz was calling out his secondary. Okay? I'm sorry I jumped from the pass rush straight over to this. I write things down funny sometimes. Okay? I'm more of a write it down person than a print it out person. But anyways, A&M has faced 5 O-lines that have given up less sacks as well than Mizzou. And A&M 3.4 sacks per game in those 5 games. Man, I know I'm just jumping everywhere right now, but this game sets up for an A&M win. There's a key to the win, and that is stopping the run, making Missouri's offense play through the freshmen. You make their offense play through the freshmen, it could be great for Mizzou, and it could be god-awful. I'm going to go with a happy, bad medium, Okay, I don't think it's great. I think he probably throws a pick or two in the second half. I think these Elko third down looks are gonna mess with him. Okay, he looked good versus Vandy. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little worried for Vandy there, but it didn't matter. Okay, they came up literally an inch short, and I think they come a lot of inches short, more than a few, come Saturday. Okay, A&M with the win and cover on the road, back to back. Third biggest game to me, at least. Oregon at Iowa, -7. Okay. This Iowa offense they're doing something now. They're not the automatic bet the under game no more. Okay. And this defense is still good. Okay. It is supposed to be in the 40s, possibly 30s, raining. 70% chance of rain. It's going to be cold and wet. I personally hate the cold and wet. Both of these teams run the ball 55% of the time, okay? Both are great against the run. I think it tunes in, Jesus, I can't talk. Turns into who wants it more. Who wants it more, Iowa or Oregon? You are at Iowa. Iowa played Indiana close. Technically, they played them closer than Oregon. They lost by 5. Oregon lost by 10 at home. Both of them at home. Ever since then, Iowa has looked good, okay? But they also haven't played a really good team, or a good team, period, because you're in the Big Ten since Indiana. Okay? Can Oregon run the ball? Can Iowa run the ball? And it could just be a defensive slugfest, honestly. And that's what I'm starting to lean to, it being cold and wet. I don't really know who comes out on top. I'm going to be honest. I think it's a close game down to the end. Because I think Iowa's better than they're getting credit for. I don't think Oregon is as good as they are getting credit for. And I think we see some mistakes from Oregon's offense that causes this game to be closer than what a lot of people probably think it should. Okay? This weather also plays to Iowa's favor. How what they want to do. Okay? Oregon is still a spread off. They might run the ball a lot. They are a spread you out offense. Iowa is a run through your face offense. All right? Think about it. It might sound dumb, like, oh, Iowa beat Oregon. I could see it. I could see a world where Iowa wins this game, especially in the cold. If it's raining during this game, they've really got a chance. If the weather can limit Oregon's passing offense as well, I see they got a chance. The best passing offense Iowa has played outside of Indiana, I think, is Rutgers. And I watched that game, and they threw it on them a little bit, okay? They were hitting them quick slants. They were tearing them up there for a little bit. Iowa still came out on top. They did something they don't normally do, and they scored some points. Now, since then, they have learned to score. I think it was Minnesota and Wisconsin. They just let them have it. Iowa with the cover, I'm not going to guarantee a win. I think they covered. That's too many points for a game that's going to be like this. Both teams are going to run the ball. Time of possession, clock is going to run. It's cold, wet, and rainy. And Dante Moore, first-year starter. I know he went on the road and won at Penn State. I am not going to discredit Oregon for beating Penn State, okay, just because of what Penn State has become. I think Oregon caused that. They just broke that program, okay? They broke that team. If Penn State wins that game, they're not losing to UCLA, then they're not losing to Northwestern. That's not happening, okay? But since they did, and then their coach they were broke. They're just broken team. And Oregon did that. So do not discredit their win versus Penn State because Penn State went to shit after. All right? Do not discredit it. Oregon deserves the ranked win for that, I believe. I don't care what anybody says. They just broke that team because Penn State had all their talent in the world, and it just all crumbled. Right? There are so many people picking them for the Natty, and then it crumbled. And I think it crumbled because they lost that game. Anyways, Iowa with the cover. I'm not going to pick a winner. It's going to be a slugfest. I could see it being a very low-scoring game, like an Iowa State game. I could see it being like that. Okay, the 16-13 game, I could be a lot like that. But I'm going to say Iowa covers. It's too many points for a game like this. Okay, Iowa's better than y'all think, I promise. Boom. Back to the SEC. Georgia at Mississippi State. 11 o'clock kickoff. If this is a night game, I might feel a lot different about it, but it's not. Okay, it is a letdown spot, look ahead spot, whatever you want to call it for Georgia. Okay, they play Texas next week. Texas caught a little fire. Texas offense has put up some points the last 2 weeks. Georgia, what's going to happen, okay? Mississippi State finally caught fire, too. They finally finished a game, come back and beat Arkansas. They finally finished one. We could be talking about Mississippi State entirely different if they knew how to finish the game. Versus an SEC team. They finished the game versus Arizona State. They got lucky, but they finished it. Blown coverage, touchdown, boom. You got to win. And then you play Tennessee, and you lose in overtime. Okay? Whatever. A&M is the only one, I think, that wasn't a one-score game in these SEC. Okay? Lose to Tennessee in overtime. You lose to Florida on throwing a pick to a D lineman at the end of the game, down 2. Down 2. You had the ball. You had control. You could have won the game. Okay? Texas, 17-point lead and below it. Losing overtime. But then Arkansas might have gave them the momentum they needed. Now, I don't think Mississippi State has the dogs to keep up with the Georgia Bulldogs. Okay? The only way I think they can is turnovers. Okay? I'm going to read off some stats. Arizona State, they had 2 picks. Against Tennessee, they had 2 picks and a fumble. Texas, they only got 1 interception, but the offense was working that day, baby. At Florida, they got 2 picks, and at A&M, they got a pick. I think the key to making this a football game is getting turnovers, okay, and not turn the ball over, because they have been susceptible to turn the ball over, but Georgia doesn't really get turnovers, right? And Georgia has been susceptible to close games. Go look at it. They never play a close game with everybody, except Kentucky. That was a blowout. But can Mississippi State hang around and finish this game? It's a letdown spot. Look ahead. They're looking ahead. They could be looking ahead to Texas, okay? It's a possibility. I think Kirby's better than that, okay? But, I mean, we've seen it multiple times this year. Ole Miss was looking ahead to Georgia. They almost got beat by Wazoo, okay? Almost happened. And then the same thing, you could have said Tech had a look-ahead spot because they got BYU this week when they played Kansas State at Kansas State last year. But you know what they did? They took care of business. Who's going to take care of business here? Can Mississippi State capitalize on the momentum they've gained? And can they finish the game? Can they finish another SEC game versus one of the better teams in the conference? Simple as that. And does Georgia look ahead? And the other factors here, I mean, Georgia could beat these guys by 30, and Mississippi State could come out and win at the end. I mean, there's multiple outcomes for this game, and it's very intriguing. I think Georgia was a 9-point favorite last I looked, 9 or 10. Okay. I'm not going to lie, this one's hard. The 11 a.m. kickoff, though, how awake are them Bulldogs going to be? Huh? Hope Brandon Walker ain't going. If he's going, take Georgia. Man, I just don't believe Mississippi State truly has the talent to hang with Georgia. Even in a look-ahead split. This could be a game for a half, and then Georgia wakes up at halftime and runs away with it. I could see that game going this way. I could see this game going plenty of different ways. But I think the key to the game for Mississippi State is they cannot make mistakes and they have to get turnovers. They do both of those. They cannot make dumb mental mistakes. They cannot have turnovers themselves. They have to get them. We could have a game. Could. And Georgia also could drop 40 on their head like it's nothing. Okay? It wouldn't shock me if this game comes down to the end. It wouldn't shock me if Georgia blows them out. All right? Georgia don't have a pass rush. That's another thing. Okay? They're playing Texas next week. They need to find their pass rush. Okay? They're ranked in the bottom of college football in pass rush. Getting sacks. They don't get them. They just do not get them. But you know who gives them up? Mississippi State. Okay? I believe both these teams. Georgia's defense hardly ever, I think it's like 1 to 2% of the time get a sack. But Mississippi State gives up a sack 10% of the time. Okay? I'd have to go actually look at the stat again to confirm that, but the numbers are right around that. Okay? They are right around 1 in 10. We're going to find a happy medium? Or is Georgia going to find a pass rush? I mean, in week 11. You ain't found it by now, you probably aren't going to find it. But scheme something up, okay? Get some momentum. Hey, this works. Let's use it. Go. We'll see what happens, okay? If Georgia can find their pass rush, that's crucial the next week. Because next week, if Arch Manning does have time to throw and he's not being caved in by defenders, they can make some plays. As much as I hate to say it, I hate Texas. But they can make some plays if you don't get a pass rush on them. I don't care that it's in Georgia. Just because you're playing in Georgia doesn't mean that if you don't get a pass rush, the other team is not going to make plays, okay? I think the pass rush is a key to just about every defense. Pass rush, stop the run. If you get a pass rush, it helps your DBs. Their DBs have been getting burnt a lot because they don't have a pass rush, okay? If you can't get after the quarterback, you can't disrupt a lot of things. And they haven't got after the quarterback. Mississippi State's allowed it a lot. We'll see which one. Okay? Which team wakes up. Which team wakes up in that aspect and comes to play. And we might just find a happy medium and maybe they give up pass rushes, but they don't get sacks. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see on Saturday. How about that? I'm not making a pick on that game. I'm not betting that game. I'd see it going too many different ways. All right? Next, Alabama versus LSU. How does LSU respond without Brian Kelly? Do we see the LSU everyone kind of predicted before the season? Except me. I predicted their downfall. I'm really proud of that. Anyways. Or do we see these skill positions guys they have open up and let it off? I mean, this is the biggest stage they're going to play on for the rest of the year. It's big. They can play the villain and they can screw a lot of things up. Or Alabama rolls them. Okay? The biggest question is, how's it going to be after Brian Kelly? Who knows? Like, there's usually when a team fires their coach, there's a whole reason I took Florida last week to cover versus Georgia. When you fire your coach, how do you respond? Personally, I wasn't there. I don't know. I haven't honestly read about it. How well do these guys like Brian Kelly? Okay? They might be happy he's gone. They might be turned up. I know LSU fans are happy, or the players happy. And they might play loose and free and happy and roll, okay? I mean, if they play up to their potential, this could be a damn good game. All right? It could be really good. Can LSU's offensive line hold up, okay? If their offensive line can hold up, that offense can go. If they can run the ball, because Alabama's had trouble stopping the run. If they can run the football, we have a ball game. Simple as that. If LSU can run the ball, we have a ball game. Okay? If this game was in Death Valley, I would feel a lot different about it. But it's not. It's in Tuscaloosa. Can they play the villain? Can they just blow it up? Okay? DeBoer being a double-digit favorite ain't the greatest thing in the world for an Alabama fan, right? They're up by favored by 10 last I looked. LSU has the defense, okay? I know A&M torched them. I know they torched them, but the difference was, and Vandy torched them. Ole Miss beat them. The 3 games they've lost this year, all 3, you know what all they had in common? A mobile quarterback. Chambliss, Pavia, Reed, all mobile. Is Ty Simpson mobile enough? I've seen him scoot around a little bit. He's made a few plays with his legs. Is he mobile enough? I think that's the key to beating this defense is having a mobile quarterback. So far, that's all it's shown me. Last year, Reed and Milroe, what happened? This year, I just named them off. Chambliss, Pavia, and Reed again. Can Simpson do enough with his legs? If he can do something with his legs, I find it hard to believe Alabama losing this game. But I also find it hard to believe them just blowing them out. This could be a ball game. It comes down to the pressure on the court. If Alabama gets pressure on Nussmeier and LSU can't run the ball, this might be a blowout. LSU is going to have to run the football. Harlan Berry, Caden Durham, y'all are going to have to go. The only question, do they have holes to run through? They did bust a few runs against A&M. Like I said earlier, A&M is susceptible to giving up the big run here and there. But outside the big run, they didn't do anything. They had 2, maybe 3. And they weren't like big runs, but they were good-sized runs, okay? LSU needs a consistent run game. Get 4 yards per carry, okay? That's not great. It's not great for one game. If you can get 4 yards per carry, I think that opens it up a little bit more, and then you might hit a boom or bust somewhere along the line. Okay, preferably a boom in LSU's case, because these Alabama safeties are susceptible to it. Okay, they don't always feel right. Along the defensive secondary, they do not fill run lanes perfect. All right, and if you can get to the second level, you can make something happen. Okay, I've seen it multiple times this year. I saw it when they played Florida State. This is not the same team that played Florida State, I promise. I saw it when they played Vandy, okay? Vandy came into Tuscaloosa and had every opportunity to win. Don't let the score lie to you. They had every opportunity to win if you watch that game. They made 2 big red zone mistakes and lost the game. You fumbled inside the 10, and then you threw a pick in the red zone. What do you think's going to happen? You're not going to win games giving up 14 points. I mean, what did they lose by? I think they lost by like 15 or some shit like that. But anyways, this might have been 17. I can't remember. They gave up those points and win. LSU can't make those mistakes. They don't have the luxury of making them. But they have playmakers on both sides of the ball. They have all the weapons possible. The only thing they truly don't have, in my mind, is the offensive line. Is Nussmeier healthy enough? If Nussmeier's healthy, even without the offensive line, they might have a little bit of chance. If the offensive line can hold up 50% better than they have, I don't know. We'll see. Healthy Nussmeier is Weeks. I saw last week's probably not going to play. That hurts, okay? Can this LSU offense have a pulse? Can they block up front? Can they run the football? If they run the football, I think there's a way they could win this game. But I'll believe it when I see it, okay? I'm not going to be betting it. I will believe it when I see it. I'm just going to sit back, watch, and enjoy, okay? If I had to bet it, I'd probably just take Bama -10. We'd probably have a damn good game in the first half. LSU lit a fire under their ass. And then Alabama just puts it down on them the second half. Probably wins like 31-21. I can see that. 31-21 Alabama. We'll just make that prediction. I'm not betting it. Don't take my word on that. I'll say 31-21 Alabama. All right. Florida, Kentucky. Go look at the injury report in this one. It might make you giggle. I've never seen that many players on an injury report at all. Go look at it. It's insane. How do you have that many players hurt right now? I mean, I understand, but how? How? There are so many players on it. I remember when A&M played Florida, I seen the injury report. I was like, whoa, I got that many guys hurt, and now it's more. There's more players on it. Like, wow. Florida's going to win on the road at night. Okay, they looked good versus Georgia. They did not make the plays in order to win the game, okay? They came up short. Kentucky ain't Georgia. I know you're playing there at night, and they might have momentum because they just beat Auburn and got their coach fired, okay? I mean, they had their season high in taking Texas to overtime and beating Auburn. And then they had a season low in the middle versus Tennessee. I don't know what that was, okay? Go look up the fumble plays. Those are funny. I think Florida builds off the Georgia game. I think Lagway looks good in this one. I think he looks better than he did in the Georgia game. I think they've run the offense through ball once again, and I think Florida wins. Simple as that. I mean, I'm not going to dive too deep in this one. One of these teams is bad, and one of them just hasn't won. I don't think Florida is a bad team. Okay, they beat Texas. All right? They took Georgia down to the end. For one quarter, they gave A&M a game, and then A&M just put the foot on the throat. And anyways, the Florida team doesn't suck. This Kentucky team might. They do. But Florida's going to win. All right, simple as that. I think the spread's 3. Personally, I don't really like getting burned by like a 3-point spread. What if they win by 2? Okay. Florida's going to win. I'm not going to dive too much deep into it. Just go look at the injury report. That's why this one is so early on the list, just because I wanted y'all to go look at the injury report. Just look it up. It's awesome. I mean, it's not awesome that all these guys are hurt, but it's just funny to see. Like, how? There's so many. So many. Like, you don't want to see that at all, but it's just, it'll make you giggle. Like, how is this whole team hurt? I feel bad for them. Back to the Big Ten, the second best conference in football. Indiana versus Penn State. Indiana continues to roll, boys. Penn State's broken. I do think they're going to throw the book at them, okay? They kind of I didn't watch the Penn State Ohio State game, but it was 17-14 at one time, and then Ohio State ran away with it. It could probably be something like that. We are playing at State College, okay? We are playing at Penn State. But I don't think it matters. This Indiana team knows how to do a job, okay? That's all they've done all year is exactly what they're supposed to and more. Kicking butt. Simple as that, okay? Indiana continues to roll. Penn State might give them a game there for a minute, but I think Indiana beats them bad. Okay, they'll probably win and cover. Next, SMU, Boston College. SMU, this is a perfect letdown spot, honestly. It's 11.5-point favorites. Boston College just gave Notre Dame somewhat of a game, okay? They lost by 15 versus Notre Dame. But it was closer than that, kind of, for a little bit. Okay, they struggled. They struggled plenty, okay? SMU is not a good pass defense. And Boston College is ranked in the top 35, I believe, in passing offense. I mean, they can throw it a little bit. James thrown for 240 his last 3 games. And SMU, they allow over 300 passing yards a game. I mean, it's at Boston College. I can see a path, okay? This is a perfect spot for SMU to choke. Coach just got the extension. You just beat Miami. And I'm not going to touch it, but I could absolutely see a world where SMU loses this game. I could see a world where Boston College just covers. I'm not going to be better. But I could see it, okay? Ohio State and Purdue. Purdue just played Michigan close. They're 30-point dogs at Ohio State. Yeah. Listen, I know when I talk on here, and I have said, I don't think Ohio State's as good as everybody thinks. I don't. I still think they should be the number 1 ranked team in the country right now, okay? Let's get that out of the way. I don't think they're as good as last year. I don't think they're a natty champ team. I am not saying they're not a dang good football team when I say that. And they absolutely should roll Purdue, okay? They should roll them. I mean, Purdue's not on their level at all. They might have gave Michigan a game, but no. Ohio State should roll these guys. Now, 30 points is a lot. Another game I'm not touching at all. 30 is a lot. But Ohio State should shut them down. I mean, Purdue's showing they can score a little bit, and they played a different game last week. Played it close with Michigan. We'll see. I mean, I'm not diving into it. I think Ohio State rolls them. They're the number 1 team in the country for a reason. Okay? It would be funny. It would be funny if they just Purdue pulled out a game of the year. But it's not that. Maryland at Rutgers. Can Rutgers defense stop them? I don't know. And can Rutgers score with Maryland? I don't think the defense is going to stop Maryland. So can they score with them? Maryland gets sacks. It's a close spread. And then the rumor about Loxley being fired, but he's still there. Okay, he's still the coach. I mean, that's going to get out a lot of points, so I think Maryland wins. I know it's at Rutgers. This Rutgers defense is awful. Like, I thought Shiano's coach, he's a defensive guy. I remember the first week of the season, or the first game of the season, they played Ohio. I'm like, yeah. And then Ohio moved the ball on them like it was nothing in the second half, especially. And I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? Like, they had Eric O'Neal, the transfer. I thought he was going to be big time. Ooh, I got the hiccups. But no. Yeah. I can see Maryland win this game. And if I end up watching this one, I hope it's for a lot of points, okay? Would love a lot of points. UCLA and Nebraska. Lateef at quarterback. UCLA, they get back to their good time story since they fired their coach. They get back to that. Nebraska, can they rebound after losing to USC in a game they could have won if Raiola doesn't get hurt, I believe. We'll see how the backup quarterback does. We'll see if UCLA bounces back from the throttling they took from Indiana. Who knows? I mean, like, I'm not making a pick on this game. You're betting on a backup quarterback and a team that fired their coach weeks ago. That just get beat by 50. Was it 56-6? It was something like that. So, I mean, I'm not touching it. Personally, be rooting for Nebraska. I mean, I like that team, and UCLA isn't ranked, okay? UCLA is not a ranked team, so Nebraska has a chance, okay? Matt Rule, you're safe there. You do have a chance. They're not ranked. All right? Moving on. Miami and Syracuse. Carson Beck, you are also safe. You want to know why? Because Syracuse isn't big on getting interceptions, okay? You might be safe. You might not throw one. And I'm going to make the bold prediction that Carson Beck does not throw an interception. He's not throwing an interception this game. You heard it here. I called it. It's not saying much, okay? They had one versus Pitt in the first quarter. They lost 30-13. They had one to SMU while they were trailing 31-10 in the third or fourth quarter. And they had one versus Clemson in the fourth quarter, up 2 scores back when Angeli was still the quarterback. This team, Syracuse, has not won a game since Angeli got hurt. After that Clemson game, they haven't won a single one. Lost 5 in a row. Last week, they threw out a walk-on quarterback, Filardi, who was 4 of 18 for 39 yards versus Chapel Bill in North Carolina. But yeah, who's playing quarterback for Syracuse? I'm gonna imagine it's Ricky Collins. Okay, I don't think you could go back to a walk-on that put up 39 yards against North Carolina. Okay, I would go back to Ricky Collins. He's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns, but at least he can do something. I mean, he has 7 touchdowns accounted for, 6 passing, 1 rushing. I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's Miami belt to ass on Syracuse, okay? I think they crush them. Like, bad. Bad. Like, you heard the goat go bad. It's bad. All right? They haven't won a game without Angeli. They lost every single one of them by over 2 scores. 4 of the 5 teams have scored over 30. The only one who hasn't was North Carolina, one of the worst offenses in the country, who scored 27. And Syracuse hasn't touched 20 since he got hurt. Okay? Syracuse allows 5 yards per carry. They allow 5 yards per carry a game. Or season. Oh my gosh, I'm tongue-tied over here. They allow 263 yards passing a game. They don't get interceptions or sacks. I think this is going to be, Miami should win this game by 40. I'm shocked the spread is this small. Okay? I get these are D1 players. I get Syracuse wasn't a bad team at the start. They are awful now. And Miami coming off an awful loss at SMU. I think they're going to handle them. At home. Their backs they lose again, they're done. And their schedule name-wise may not be the most intimidating, but it's just the fact that they're just gotta go. And they play the last 2 games on the road without having to bye weeks. Okay? I think Miami just rolls them. They're going to want to put them backups in eventually, I think. The backups might be in by the middle of the third quarter. Beck won't throw a pick. He's going to throw for over 250. Unless they just run the ball down the throat. Okay? Mark Fletcher might go for 100 in the first half. I don't know. There's so many ways to beat this Syracuse team. And I think Miami beats them to a pulse. The defense might score 14 points. I don't know who's playing quarterback for them. I don't think it matters. I would go with Ricky Collins. I think he gives you your best chance to possibly score. But yeah, poor Syracuse, man. This one is going to be bad. My prediction. It's going to be bad. Back to the SEC. Auburn at Vandy. Vandy is 7-point favorites. Auburn. Talked about the fired coaches earlier. Once again, another fired coach. Hugh Freeze is gone after I said, they lose Kentucky, he will be fired by lunch Sunday. Sure enough, he was fired at 1 o'clock. Vandy coming off a tough loss at Texas where they just thoroughly got their ass kicked for 3 quarters. Now, in the fourth quarter, they showed up, and then they managed to cover the 3.5-point spread. I don't know how that really happened, but Texas was playing prevent, and they just let things happen over the middle, and they made big plays. They had a bunch of coverage, and they were that close to getting the onside. And then it could have really got interesting, right? Texas just quit playing football in the fourth quarter. That's kind of what it boiled down to, I think. But here we are. How will this Auburn team play without Hugh Freeze? How will this offense? Does this offense have a pulse? Because the defense does. There's been one team truly run the ball on them, and that was A&M. No one else really has. Mizzou has one of the best run games in the country, and they didn't even run the ball on them. I think that was Ahmad Hardy's worst game of the season versus Auburn. Now, granted, this game is not in Auburn, And Vandy's offense does run through the run. It lives through it. Now, last week, Pavia threw for 365. He might have to again. Okay? I don't think this one's a give me for Vanderbilt. As much as I love this team, okay, I don't think it's a give me. All right? They are a run-first team, and Auburn is great against the run. I believe they're number 3 in the country, yards per carry-wise. I could be wrong. I believe they are. Can they have a pulse on offense, Auburn? If Auburn has a pulse on offense, this game is very interesting, okay? It is very interesting if they have a pulse. I think Vandy is going to have to throw the ball, okay? Ashton Daniels, Jackson, whoever is going to end up taking the snaps at quarterback, get the ball to Cam Coleman. Get the ball to Singleton, okay? I get it. You don't have the best offensive line in the world. Vandy's going to get after you a little bit, possibly. They didn't versus Texas. I could see, if Auburn can't throw the ball, this could be just an all-out defensive battle until Auburn's defense is on the field the whole game and they finally break in the middle of the third quarter. I can see that. If they can move the ball, if they have half a pulse, they might make something happen. Because this Vandy defense can have the ball thrown on them. Okay? You can throw the ball on Vandy. Run the ball's tough. I ain't gonna lie. But you can throw it on them. Can Auburn throw the football? If Auburn can throw the football, they cover. Might win. Okay? This Auburn team has everything but an offensive line and a quarterback. Because they might have possibly the second best receiver in the country in Cam Coleman. Get him the football. Just let him work. Just throw the ball up to him. Let him run a go route and let him show what he can do. Because he is amazing. Just find a way to get him the ball. Quick screen. I don't care. Get Cam Coleman the ball. I don't care who you have to... Put him at quarterback. I'm kidding. Not being serious. Just get him the ball. Get him the ball. Get Singleton the ball. Get Cobb in the run game going. You could have something here, okay? You could have something happen. You fired your coach. You're going to have a fire lit under your ass. And you're going to go into Vandy. And I think they could give them a game. But if they can't move the ball offensively, then it doesn't matter because they're going to lose. Okay? If I had to bet it, not. If I had to bet it, take Auburn to cover. Because either way, it's going to be a defensive slugfest. Or Vandy might come out and say, screw it, we found our passing game. We're asleep on you. And I think they found their passing game because, one, they were losing by so much. And two, Texas was just sitting back and giving them everything underneath, and they were making plays. Not necessarily underneath, about 10 to 15. They were just letting them have it. Okay? They were playing like a true, we're not going to get beat deep defense. And then they didn't cover the go route. No, they just didn't cover it. Yeah, no. That's called quitting in the fourth quarter. That's what they did. That's the only reason they came back. Kind of only reason he threw for that many yards. But who cares? All right? They won the game. Not Vandy, though. It's going to be a dogfight. I'd watch this game. Okay? We'll see how this Auburn team responds after you freeze. Notre Dame versus Navy. Poor Navy. Okay. I was on them last week. Y'all heard me. I preached it. They're going to control the time of possession. They're going to give North Texas a game. They're going to stop the run, and that's where I was wrong. Super wrong there. Okay? Because they did control time of possession. And they did give them a game. Outside of the 3 turnovers and letting a freshman running back, Hawkins, just terrorize them. He looked like a grown man running through boys. He had 206 total yards. Okay? He dominated them. And if you watch the game or you watch his highlights, you know what I'm talking about. He ran through them. Literally through them. Like they weren't there. Is there a defense out? No. They ran through them. Yeah. I think Jeremiah Love might do this. And Price. Jadarian Price to this Navy defense. I think it's bad. I don't think it's close. No. Navy hasn't played a tough schedule. Okay? And the best team they played was last week against North Texas, and they got throttled, honestly. Like, if you watch the game, you understand. That was a 14-point game. Yeah. And they can't throw the ball. And that's the one way I think you can beat this Notre Dame defense is throwing the football, and they can't. They can't throw the ball. Okay? And they can't stop the pass either. Hey, that was my big thing, was like, if they can just slow them down and stop the run versus North Texas, they have a chance. They couldn't stop the run. That was the biggest problem. And supposedly all year they did, according to the stats. Yeah, I didn't see it. Okay? I don't see them stopping Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price either. And if they weren't good versus the pass versus North Texas, how are they going to stop this Notre Dame offense? Notre Dame is one of the best offenses in the country, and they're going to throttle these guys. Take Notre Dame. This thing is minus 25 now. It started at 24, now it's 25. Yeah, Notre Dame. Simple. I'm going to sneeze. Nope, it went away. I'm going to take a drink. It's sitting there. It's going to come. Louisville versus Cal. Jesus, I gotta get better at that. I keep saying the wrong ones. Anyways, Louisville versus Cal, minus 20, something like that. I got it at minus 19. Louisville is winning this game, and they might throttle them. Okay, turnovers. That is the key to this game. Okay, Cal's offense can only throw the ball. They can't run the ball at all. Okay. The only way they are able to move the ball truly is by throwing the football. You know what happens? They're going to throw a lot of interceptions. I already see it coming. Let me look. Which one is it? Yeah, Louisville. This is their defense. Okay. Louisville's defense versus Pitt got 5 turnovers. 3 picks, 2 fumbles. Louisville's defense versus Miami got 4 picks, as you know. Versus Boston College, they got 2 picks and a fumble. Virginia Tech and Virginia, they didn't get them. They lost that Virginia game. Okay. Isaac Brown's out. So how does that affect this Louisville offense? I don't think it does. You know why? Because Cal can't stop the run either. Because, let's look at this. Last game versus Virginia, Jamari Taylor ran for 105 yards. Game before that versus Virginia Tech, Marcellus Hopkins ran for 167, along with Kyler Jones, quarterback, who ran for 137. Together as an entire team, they had 58 carries for 357 yards versus Cal. Cal lost, by the way. I'm sure you put that together. Versus Boston College, Turbo Richard, 15 carries, 171 yards. Versus Duke, just their running backs. I had to go through and break this down because I was like, man, I don't really look right. These running back stats look a lot better than that. And they had sacks and everything. But I just took the team running backs. They had 34 carries for 198 yards. That is 5 yards per carry on Cal. Cal lost 45-21. North Carolina, they didn't run the ball a whole lot that game, but their top 2 running backs had 5 yards per carry. On the season, Cal allows 4.7 yards per carry. They allow 169.3 yards per game. Louisville has one of the best backs in the country in Isaac Brown. He's out. So Keon Brown, you're up. Okay? Keep in mind, versus Virginia Tech, he had 12 for 94. Versus Boston College, he had 10 for 95. I think he has a big day. Okay? One, he's going to get a ton of carries. I don't think Cal moves the ball on Louis. Okay? I think Louis is going to have 3 picks. I mean, they're going to, at minimum, they're going to have 2. I even wrote it down. D gets 2 interceptions. So you probably can't see it. Their defense at least gets 2. Okay? Louisville in a blowout. Okay? I'm not sure if Cal scores over 10. I think it could be bad for them. Louisville's D is extremely good versus the pass. Ask Carson Beck. Okay? They have playmakers on offense. I'm not the biggest Miller Moss fan, but they got playmakers. They got receivers. I'm not going to stress about Isaac Brown tonight. Okay? It might come back to haunt him later. I don't know how long he's actually out. Keon Brown, you're up. He's going to have a game. I don't know what his line is. Take it. Just hammer it. I'm going to. I don't know what it is yet. As long as it's a reasonable number, I'm taking it. Louisville in a blowout. I talked a lot of trash about this team. And I have rooted for them up until the point where I'm like, shit, they're going to make the playoff. And that is Virginia. They are minus 6.5 versus Wake Forest, okay? Virginia is great on third down on offense and defense. They are beatable through the air. Too bad Wake Forest is not the best passing. Wake Forest is not the best offensive team, period. Okay? The key to the game for Wake Forest is their defense. They're going to have to stop Virginia. All right? Both teams have trouble in the red zone, offense and defense. Okay? Virginia just finds a way to win. Florida State won in overtime. Louisville. They were down 24-14 going into the fourth. They get to overtime, and they win. And they had a terrible offense. Go look at their offensive stats that game. Just go look. I know you already know what happened, whatever. Just go look at the stats. And tell me who you think would win that game just off the stats, excluding the turnovers. North Carolina, they were in overtime with North Carolina. They won 17-16. And Wake Forest, they're coming off their worst game of the year against Florida State. They got beat 42-7. But they beat SMU the week before. Make it make sense. It's college football, baby. They had 8 total, not just them. Them and SMU combined for 8 total turnovers in that game. Rhett Lashley says it was like the worst offense game he's been a part of. Yeah. But Wake Forest played Georgia Tech close. They beat SMU. So when these top teams in the conference are there to play, they play both of them at home. This is the first one on the road. Stats tell me Virginia, and I've been saying they're going to lose at least one of these games. Okay, I've been preaching since last week that they're going to lose one of these games. I thought they were going to lose to Cal. I had Cal, and my other one is Duke. I think Wake Forest could get it done. I am not putting money on this at all. They could. They're going to need turnovers and a hell of a game from the defense and the offense to do something. But you're playing at night at Virginia. I'd say Virginia wins this game. I don't know how much. It might be 7. It might be 20. I'm not sure. I don't think Wake Forest is a great football team. Their defense isn't bad. Okay, that's going to be the key. They're going to have to get turnovers. They're going to have to stop Virginia's offense. Okay? Next Virginia game, when they play Duke, they're going to lose. They're already labeled as underdogs, and they're like 5.5-point dogs. Dude, nuke Duke next week. Okay? Virginia's going to survive this week. They'll get beat next week versus Duke. Okay? You heard it here. Speaking of Duke versus UConn. Okay? Duke is minus 9.5 at UConn. Duke is 5-3. Let me look. Yeah, Duke is 5-3. They're 4-1 in the ACC. This is not an ACC game. Okay? They could lose this one, and there's a way they could find their way in the ACC championship. Yeah. Crazy, right? Duke can sling it. All right, they can sling it. They can sling it. They can sling it. And you know what their defense does? They get turnovers. Okay? Versus NC State, 4 takeaways, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. Versus Syracuse, they had 2 fumbles and an interception. Versus Cal, they got 4 picks. Versus Georgia Tech, they didn't have any. Versus Clemson, they got 1 fumble. Okay? I think Duke's going to throttle them. I think UConn could keep it close, but I'm not really into it, okay? They had, I think that the stats, they had a pretty good ranking in terms of interception percentage, so I had to go look at it. Well, they had 3 interceptions versus UAB, and they had 3 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries against FIU. And that's almost all of them. So you have 1, 2. They have 2 more interceptions outside those 2 games. Does FIU and UAB scream great offense? I don't know if you watched Duke this year. That is a dang good offense. Except in the red zone versus Georgia Tech. Or when they played Illinois and they just gave the game. If you go look at the Illinois score, you're like, holy crap, y'all got stomped. Go watch the game. Duke gave them the game. Duke did not get their ass kicked like it looks on the scoreboard. They just gave them the game with so many turnovers. My question is, how many points can Duke score this game? Okay? Hopefully the red zone offense is better than it was against Georgia Tech. All right. 3rd down, Duke struggled against Clemson. They were 3 of 14 on 3rd down. 5 of 5 on 4th down. I mean, if you can't get on 3rd, just go for it on 4th. Now look at that. That was an 8 of 14 conversion rate for them. Georgia Tech, they were 7 of 15 on 3rd down. Cal, they were 5 of 11. Syracuse, they were 6 of 13. And NC State, they were 5 of 12. They kind of hover around 50%, what it looks like. I think Duke avoids the letdown because they do have Virginia next week. Like I said, they avoid the letdown. They get the win and cover. UConn ain't built like that, okay? I know they played Syracuse with Angeli. I'll give them credit there. Syracuse played awful. Keep in mind they were running sprints after that game, and they still won. All right. Duke win and cover. This game might be fun. TCU versus Iowa State. Iowa State is down 4 of their 5 original starting defensive backs. Out. Man. Iowa State had high hopes this year. When I watched them versus Kansas State, I was like, both these teams are awful. If this is the best the Big 12 has to offer, like everybody made it out to be on the media, we're in trouble. But luckily, Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, they all say this. Okay? Iowa State. Last week versus Arizona State, Sims had 228 rushing. They gave up 290 in total. Rocco Beck had 186 yards passing. But at least Hanson had 113 on the ground. But it didn't matter. You lost at home to a team playing without their 2 best players. Okay. Versus BYU, Bear Bachmeier threw 307. He's a running quarterback, and he threw for 307. Not to mention, your quarterback, Rocco Beck, threw 3 picks. Colorado. Kadeon Salter threw for 255. He's not even starting anymore. They did run it all over Colorado. They threw a pick and lost. Okay, I can't remember how the game actually went, but I know they lost. I watched part of it, but yeah. Cincinnati, they were down 31-15 at the half. They gave up 111, to Pryor. And Sorsby threw for 214. Okay, that's where I get confused on the numbers. Man, Iowa State doesn't get sacks. They've lost 4 straight games. I think TCU, without their top defensive back, TCU might roll these dudes. Okay? Arizona State wasn't even a passing team, and TCU doesn't run the ball really a lot. I mean, they do when they have to, but they don't like to run the ball. They want to throw it on you. They want to have Hoover throw it to all these receivers. Okay? Dwyer, McAllister, I can't remember the other dude's name. They got receivers. They want to throw it to them. Okay? Manjack. That's who it is. And TCU's good versus the run, so Rocco Beck, what are you going to do? TCU's also going to get pressure on you. Now, Iowa State allows sacks. Okay? TCU is -7. I hate laying that in a conference game, but TCU is a better team. I think Iowa State's just kind of like, they're just broken. But they're always there, okay? They're very well coached. Matt Campbell is a great coach. That is another thing. Great coach teams, right? TCU is terrible in the penalty department. Iowa State's one of the best in the country. They don't get flags, okay? And the teams they play get flags. So that could come into play, all right? That could come into play. But I think all it comes down to, TCU slings the football, and they get interceptions on defense. They get sacks, okay? They play chaotic. They make things happen. TCU win it cover. We have reached Friday night. Friday night has been the night of hell. Honestly, like, so much crazy stuff has happened. Like, underdogs galore. And when I say that, I mean Tulane's going to beat Memphis. Okay? Tulane lackluster game versus Army. Summerall's in head coaching talks. Lackluster game. Then they go to UTSA and get throttled as their coach's name's being brought up for LSU and other jobs. Guess who's being brought up for a head coaching job now? His name's been floated around a little bit, but all over X today, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, was Silverfield, the Memphis head coach, is the front runner for Arkansas's job. I always have a little philosophy, I mean, I'm sure other people have too. When coaches are involved in coaching searches, their teams tend to play bad. And Summerall, yes, he's involved, but they've been doing this for 3 weeks now. Memphis ain't. Tulane. I got it early in the week at +7. Okay? It's down to +3.5. Tulane. Tulane has a good offense, okay? Defense, not the best. Not the best defense, okay? Ugh. Those are solid running. But, yeah. Memphis, I watched a few of the games. I'm not impressed, man. They're not a playoff team. No. We'll get to that later. I got J-Moo right now. Give me J-Moo. At least they're fun. Yeah, no. Tulane's going to win this game, all right? Take the dogs. Houston, UCF. Okay? Wait, I want to jump back to this real quick. I think Resclaff is going to go absolutely off. Okay? He hasn't hardly ran the ball since, which week was it? I didn't write it down. Great. He hasn't ran the ball since around Ole Miss. First few games he ran the ball time. He was over 100 yards each game. He's their leading rusher still, too. He hasn't ran the ball a whole lot since. I think he's going to run the ball versus Memphis. Bynum had over 100 yards on him. I think he is, too. He's going to run the ball on him. He's going to have a big game. Tulane with the upset. Houston, UCF. UCF has just came up so short, okay? They've gained some good games to some good Big 12 teams, but they came up short. Houston just had a terrible loss to West Virginia. This looks awful. Both these teams have pretty good defenses, okay? I'm not used to saying that the Big 12. It's so weird saying Big 12 good defense. Those things you don't think that. But anyways, I think this comes down to which offense can go. Okay, UCF has played some good games. Houston, they're not dead yet in terms of standing-wise, but they basically are. Oh, I'm going to hate this. I hate saying it. Give me UCF. I just made that decision just now, but I'm an Aggie fan. I like Wickman. I root for him still. I usually root for Texas-based teams outside of one. Yeah. I'm an Aggie fan, though. Just die hard. Screw all the other teams at the end of the day. I can see UCF winning this game. At UCF, it's a 1.5 point spread. And you're like, what? And UCF also has had some weird line. They've caught close spreads a couple times. I think this time they get it done. I think they get the win. They're favored for a reason. UCF. Lastly, Northwestern, USC. USC might have got beat last week if Raiola doesn't get hurt. Can they bounce back? Okay, Northwestern defense has not been terrible. They're 4-1 in their last 5. They can run the ball a little bit. They can slow down USC. And also, going back to the fire coach, Josh Pate throwing his grenade on Busting with the Boys, stating Lincoln Riley and coaching search, and say which ones. I think it's LSU, because he almost took that job before. But, yeah. How's it going to affect them? That's Southern Cal, baby. They get erratic. Oh, it'd be so funny if Northwestern beats them. I'm all for it. I am not touching that, okay? I see a path to victory. Go look at the stats. Northwestern has a path to victory. Should they? Absolutely not. They're 14.5 point underdogs. USC should roll them. But offense didn't look great last week. They ran the ball. They also gave up a ton of rushing yards. Northwestern just runs in there and runs the football. That's what their offense is good at. They can run the ball a little bit. What if they come to USC and run the ball on? If I had to bet it, take Northwestern to cover. Okay, we'll see. Might have a small bet on it. I don't know. I can see USC beating them by 40. Okay, but they gave Nebraska a game. That's the only game they lost in the last 5, right? Keep an eye on that. I trust Josh Pate. He's one of my favorite people to listen to. It's one reason why I started this. Northwestern to cover, UCF to win, Tulane to cover and win, whichever one you want to take. Prefer the cover. That's the preview for this week. Okay, I gave you all my predictions. You can text me in any games you want me to do. I might do a short video on it if I didn't touch it. Now, we got our first CFB playoff ranking. So, we're going to talk about a few things, and I'll give you my playoff prediction. Okay? First up, the ACC. So, the committee basically told us, without some chaos happening, we're getting one ACC team. All right? Just one. So, we're going to go through the schedules real quick. Virginia. Wake Forest at Duke, Virginia Tech. They're going to lose one of those games. So, they'll put them at one loss in the ACC. Potentially. Georgia Tech, they're 5-1 in the ACC. They got Boston College, Pitt, and Georgia. Georgia don't count. Okay, they're going to beat Boston College. They got Pitt at home. Pitt's good versus the run. That's an elimination game, too. Pitt has 2 conference losses. They have 1 conference loss. Sorry, I read it wrong. They have 1 conference loss. Could be a game. Pitt, on the other hand, has Notre Dame at Georgia Tech. at home versus Miami. I don't think they survive. That's a gauntlet. That's a gauntlet. Notre Dame, Miami, Georgia Tech. That's a gauntlet. Or Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami. I don't think Pitt survives it. I'm going to mark them out. Okay? They have been good since the new quarterback. I'm going to mark them out. I don't think they make it. Louisville versus Cal versus Clemson at SMU, Kentucky. The only game I see them losing is SMU. Could see them losing. I don't think they do. Dang. The only way they do is if Jeff Brom gets serious into other head coaching. That's who I'd be after. He's one of the guys I would be after. I don't know these guys. Obviously, this is me on the outside looking in, being a fan. Being a fan, he's one of the guys I would take a look at. I'm not sure he'll leave. And we'll get into more of that later just because he went to Louisville, right? Anyways, for now, I'm going to take Louisville to win out. So that would put them as a one-loss team. Man. SMU. Yeah, now I'm going to say they lose to Louisville. Okay? But they could screw this all up, too. Like there's no telling. Duke. I see Duke winning out. UConn, not a conference game, okay? Let's go. Virginia, they're going to beat Virginia. Book it. At North Carolina, they're going to beat North Carolina. Wake Forest, they're going to beat Wake Forest at home. Duke's going to win out. They're going to go 9-3 and have one conference loss. I don't know if that gets you. I don't know what all the tiebreakers are. The only one I know for sure off the top of my head is Louisville has one over Miami and Virginia has one over Louisville. And then, we'll find one between Georgia Tech, Pitt, and Miami because they all have a common opponent in Pitt. So we'll find one there. Miami has Syracuse, North Carolina State, at Virginia Tech, at Pitt. It's 3-1 at the worst. I'm going to say 4-0. Depending on how the season looks going into Pitt. If there's a chance, they need some help, okay? If there's a chance they could be in the ACC Championship or the playoff, Pitt game gets interesting. If not, then they might lose easy. I don't know. I mean, it won't matter at that point if they don't have a chance to get in at all. We'll see where the rankings are by the time we get there. Because then you can kind of tell a story. Well, could they make the game without... See, that's another interesting point. Could one of these ACC teams get in? Say Georgia Tech runs the table, but they don't play in the ACC Championship. And they'll say that, like, somehow that doesn't happen. They don't play in the ACC Championship, but they went out. Winning out includes beating Georgia. I feel like you got to put them in at that point. They're an 11-1 team who beat Georgia, who beat Clemson when they were still Clemson, what we thought. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with all this. I'm throwing out scenarios, okay? How many ACC teams are going to get in? I'm going to give you my prediction here in a minute, but I'm just spitballing, all right? So, there we go. Moving on. It's going to be hard for Miami to get back in it. Because, Frank, you need all these teams to end up with 2 losses, and you need Louisville to fall out. You need Virginia to lose. I think Miami might... Mathematically, they are not done, but they just about are. Okay? I would love to see Duke in it. Give me Duke versus Louisville. That could be fun. But at the same time, I want to see Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech and Louisville would be fun. I don't know. I just don't want to see Virginia in it. I don't think, like, if them and Louisville play again, I think Louisville stomps them. Simple. Neutral field, they're going to win. But, yeah. SEC, okay? We just went over the ACC and all the chaos that could happen. What about the SEC? And you're probably, oh, I mean, they got 4 teams, like we all know, blah, blah, blah. No, they have 7. They have 7 that are in the conversation, okay? What if we have 7 10-2 teams? What if OU, Vandy, and Texas win out? That's chaos. A&M would, I mean, I'm an Aggie, but technically on our resume, we'd have a loss to Texas, and we'd have a loss to Mizzou in this situation, okay? Not going to. But we're 10-2 with, we had a ranked win over LSU, who, I mean, at the point they'll finish the season not ranked. We'll have 1, none over an SEC opponent. Alabama has plenty, okay? They got the 4, whatever. I mean, this is absolute chaos moment. I don't think it happens anyway. I mean, Texas and OU have a gauntlet, okay? Texas has Georgia. I'm going to round them down. Arkansas, A&M. OU has Bama, Missouri, LSU. I think OU is more likely to win out than Texas. Yeah. I think Texas is a better football team. OU is more likely to make the playoff if one did. Part of it. And there's a world where Texas could easily go 8-4 as they could 10-2. And could they be 9-3? Say they beat Georgia in Georgia but lose A&M, or vice versa. Like, say A&M's undefeated and you play them and you beat them. Do you put a 9-3 Texas in that lost to, assuming, number 1 Ohio State and Georgia? If they beat Texas, that it could be like 3-4. Or you lose to number 1 Ohio State and number 3 A&M, who would probably be number 2 after they beat Texas. So SEC could get chaotic. These are like things that you don't think will happen, and they might. It could be nuts. The Big Ten. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams with a path. Okay, that could get in. I don't think it matters. I think Indiana and Ohio State. More than like, I know I've called my shot saying Michigan will beat Ohio State. And when it comes time to predict that game, I'm going to say it again. But for now, Ohio State and Indiana going undefeated for the sake of this talk. Okay? They're going to go undefeated. And then they're going to play. And then I'm not going to tell you I'm going to take yet. I think I've mentioned Indiana that I would take just because at the end of the day, in a big game like that, I root for the underdog. But this is for me giving a true football opinion, not a biased opinion. So, even though the Aggie ones are a little bit biased. But yeah. Man, Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, Oregon, USC, Washington. Oregon has a gauntlet. I can see a world where Oregon does not make the playoff and they're one of these teams that are guaranteed to make it. I can see where they don't. Okay? Iowa. Could they get in? They went out. Could they get in? If Michigan wins out, or 10-2, and they beat Ohio State, and they only have one conference loss at that point, are they in the? I mean, it all depends on how things shake up. They'll have the tiebreaker over Ohio State. Are they in the Big Ten championship? I mean, it's a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos can happen, man. USC only has one conference loss. Oregon only has one. Washington has 2. Iowa has 1. Michigan has 1. Ohio State and Indiana. Big Ten could be chaotic as well. I don't think these teams are as good as the SECs. Give me the SEC 7 versus the Big Ten 7, baby. Now, the Big 12, I think it's pretty simple. It's not guaranteed to be Texas Tech versus BYU in the Big 12 championship. Give me Texas Tech. Texas Tech is going to be your Big 12 representative. I could see a world where Utah finds a way to get in. They need a BYU collapse, okay? They need a BYU collapse for them to get in. Only going to be 3 at the max. But right now, it's going to be Tech, BYU, Utah looking on the outside. I think Tech wins out. They win the Big 12 championship. They're the only one guaranteed, I think, to get in my mind right now. And I told you earlier, James Madison is my group of 5 team, okay? I'm going to draw this out for you real quick. Okay, so you got 8, 9, 5, 12. I got really good at drawing tournament brackets as a kid. Yeah, 8, 9, 5, and 12, 1 and 4, 7, 10, and I have 2 and 3, so what numbers do I not have? Is it 6 and 9? No? Oh, 6 and 11. I'm tripping. Follows on sleeping. Alright, yeah. Number 1, Ohio State. This is predictions. Week 11 predictions. I'm trying to go with what the playoff committee went with. I'm trying to make guesses, and we'll see. I think the winner of the Big Ten is probably going to be number 1. The winner of the SEC is going to be number 2. Texas A&M. So number 3 is going to, depending on how they end up and who gets to be whatever, for the sake of this, I'm going to do Indiana as number 3, and Alabama is number 4. In this world, I got Georgia winning out. They're going to be number 5. I've seen some rumors about old Lane taking the Florida job. He's like the favorite. I've seen Drinkwitz was a favorite. Now he's a favorite Penn State. Tune it all out. Ole Miss, number 6. I take that back. So in this world, I have Tech winning out. I don't think they jump Bama. I ain't gonna jump Georgia. Yeah. So we're gonna have Texas Tech as number 6. Give me Ole Miss at number 7. I did this yesterday. It gets tough at 10, 11. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in number 12 with J-Moo. Okay. Oh, so we got 8, 9, 10, 11. Number 8, Notre Dame. Notre Dame. I think our 11 seed is our ACC team. Whoever it is, I'm going to show you who I think it is right now. In a minute. Notre Dame. Who's going to be number 9? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't. I'm struggling here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and say 11 is Louisville. Am I going to have to throw BYU in there? I'm not a big BYU person, but I can see it happening. Because they got Cincinnati on the road, but Cincinnati doesn't match up good with them. And could another SEC team get in? I don't think OU or Texas runs the table, and I find it hard to believe they'll put in a 3-loss team. But after last year, putting in SMU, I don't know. Trust me, y'all are going through this with me right now. 9 and 10 seed, we're stuck. We got BYU. We can put in some SEC teams. In a world, if, say, Texas got in as a 3-loss team, depending on who they beat, say they beat Georgia, they'd probably be the 11, Louisville be the 10. Because I can see Louisville jumping them if they went out. All right, well, I'm going to be a square, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to make Oregon number 9. I'm going to make BYU number 10. Okay. Not necessarily I agree with it, but I'm trying to make a prediction here, and honestly, I hit a rock. Okay. As long as you have a committee. You know, they're dumb sometimes. I do agree with majority of their rankings for once. Okay. I agree with Notre Dame being above Miami, even though Miami beat them. Come at me. Anyways, Notre Dame versus Oregon. Give me Notre Dame. Georgia versus Georgia. Not even going to go into it. Ole Miss versus Ole Miss. Okay. Texas Tech versus Louisville. Texas Tech. All right, so we got Tech versus Indiana. We got Ole Miss versus A&M. We have Notre Dame versus Ohio State. And we have Georgia versus Alabama. Ooh. Georgia-Bama rematch. Oh, that depends on where it's at. You're not playing at Georgia. Bama already beat you there. Bama's lethal. Georgia don't have a pass rush, so man, it just drives me nuts. Kirby can't beat them yet. Alabama. Ohio State, Notre Dame. Notre Dame gets revenge. Notre Dame. Ole Miss, A&M. Texas Tech, Indiana. Upset. Give me Tech. Now, We have Notre Dame, A&M, Alabama, Texas Tech, Final Four. A&M over Tech, Notre Dame over Alabama. Come at me. Uh-oh. Hey, I'm trying to be fun with this, man. Give me A&M over Notre Dame in the rematch. Giggle. All right. I want to dive into a few things real quick, coaching-wise. Auburn, Florida, Penn State, Arkansas. There's so many jobs open. LSU, the biggest one. I just forgot the biggest one off the top of my head. Who's going to take what, right? Oh, man. Like I said earlier, Jeff Brom would be at the top of my list, okay? He won at Purdue. Now he went to Louisville, and he's winning there, too. The only difference is, and the same thing with Clark, they went to school there. How much does that hold a factor? Same with Brent Key and Georgia Tech, okay? How much of a factor does that play to them? That they went to school there. That is their school. Will they leave? I don't know. How committed is Lane to Ole Miss? Okay. Listen, we can all read all these things, but the fact of the matter is 95% of us don't know a dang thing. Right? We can sit here and say, oh, what if they go here? What if they go there? Blah, blah, blah. I think he goes here. We don't know. We're wait and see. Okay? Man, I think LSU's top job. I would put Florida at number 2. Penn State number 3. Yeah, we'll leave Penn State at 3. Auburn 4. Arkansas's up there at 5. We'll just do that for right now. I mean, UCLA, I don't see that as like a good job. It could be. When you're in Southern Cal, you're in a good recruiting hotbed. You just got to do it. It sucks because you don't have anybody come to your games. It's empty. Oklahoma State at one time would have been a good job. Now they're just awful as a program. I mean, they could get somebody like G.J. Kinney at Texas State. I don't know. For him, I just feel like he's like worshipped at Texas State. So, and they're about to go to the new pack. It's kind of like, do you take the bigger name job or you continue building what you have? I don't know. He's still going to be in an area where he can recruit the same type of way. Oklahoma and Texas ain't too far apart. How much NIL do they have? That's going to play a huge factor in all these. Like, if somebody's going to pry Kiffin away, how are they going to set him up for success better than Ole Miss is? Okay, because I don't think Ole Miss is a bad job at all, and then he's made it even better job, right? I'm going to be honest, I don't think Brent Key leaves Georgia Tech. He's in Atlanta. I think they build something there, okay? I think Georgia Tech builds something. Jeff Brom. I could see him going to LSU. I could see him leaving. He's always done more or less. And are you ever truly going to have those type of guys at Louisville? We'll see how committed he is to that school. I mean, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Like, I do not know the guy. Nothing. And I'm not trying to make up rumors. I don't know. Okay? Penn State, I mean, it was Eli Drinkwitz earlier today. He was the most favored to go to Penn State. I'll see him the most favored to go to Florida. So I don't really know. Okay? Like, and then Kiffin was. We don't know. All right? There's no telling. It could be a lot of things. But anyways, what else we got to talk? Heisman race, I mean, we're still in the same. I'd give you the same top 4 in no order. Simpson, Mendoza, Reed, and Sayin. I don't think there's been anybody super outstanding. Now, over the next few weeks, we're going to see for sure. Okay? I think that's when we really know. They're going to have the Heisman moments. Like, if Marcel Reed goes and wins at Missouri, I'm sure you'll hear my kid over there. She's playing with her little bucket. But, my pick right now, y'all are going to hate it. It is a little bit biased. It's Marcel Reed. I think he continues to play well. I think he continues to do what he's doing. Okay, he really turned up against LSU, and I think it just gets better. All right? Nuke Zone signing out, baby. Thank you for joining.